Hi, I'm Bridget, and thank you so much for joining me for today's class. We're going to be moving through a deep full body stretch, and we're going to begin in a wide-legged child's pose. So coming into our tabletop, we're going to walk the knees as wide as our yoga mat, sink the hips back down towards the heels, and then reach the arms out nice and long in front of you, pressing down into the hands, letting the chest sink down towards the mat. You can let your forehead rest on the mat, maybe rocking a little side to side for a little bit of a massage. Really pressing the hips down to stretch through the spine, nice and long, through the head and the neck. So we're still nice and active in this pose. You should feel a nice stretch through the sides of the body, opening up through the hips. Just bringing the attention to the breath here, slowing it down. Maybe noticing any thoughts that come up. Just noticing and then letting them go, coming back to the breath. And they might pop up throughout our practice today, but then just remembering that it's okay to notice them and then let them go and find the breath again. So we're letting go of any expectations or judgment. For today, just showing up as you are. And knowing that wherever you are is exactly where you are meant to be. When you're ready, we're going to make our way back onto all fours. We're going to leave the knees where they are, walk the hands back underneath the shoulder blades. We're going to find our thread the needle. So inhale, we're going to reach forward with the right hand, give the fingertips a little wiggle, and then we're going to thread the needle. Right hand comes underneath that left arm, and we come down onto the right side of the face here. See if you can level out the hips. So you might notice that that left hip starts to rock up towards the sky. We're going to level it back up, pressing into that left hand. You should feel a nice twist through the spine, a nice opening through the shoulders. You might like to close your eyes. Find that breath again. And then we'll press into the left palm. Come back onto both hands. Realign the arms. And then on an inhale, we take it to the other side, reaching forward with the left hand this time. Wiggle the fingers. And then we thread the needle. Left hand comes underneath that right arm. Again, level the hips out here. So you might notice that the right hip wants to lift up here. We're going to level it back out. Sending the breath to any tight places. Maybe closing down the eyes. And then we'll make our way back onto both hands, and then we'll walk the knees back underneath the hips. Bring the hands underneath the shoulders, and we're going to find our low lunge. So you might need to walk the hands forward a little bit here. If you've got some blocks, you might like to bring your hands onto some blocks. And then we're just going to step that right foot forward, pressing into the top of that left foot, or you can tuck the left toes under a little bit here. So rather than rounding forward and crunching up through the head and the neck, we're really going to try and open through the chest here. So draw the shoulder blades back, and that's why those blocks can be really nice here. Draw the shoulder blades back, nice and long through the head and the neck. Nice deep breath in, fill the body and the lungs with air. You should feel a nice opening, a nice stretch through the front of that left hip. We're still being mindful of the lower back here too. So almost try and curl that tailbone down so that you're not really crushing into the lower back. You can close the eyes down here as well. We'll be here for a moment. Just noticing where you're at, how this feels in your body. And then we're going to find our half splits. So if you don't have those left toes curled under, we're going to curl them under now. Then we're going to start to straighten through that right leg and draw the right toes back towards the chest. So toes are drawing towards the chest, chest is drawing towards the toes here. You can keep a really nice bend through that right knee. You can see I've still got that bend in my knee, just so that you can keep some length through the spine. Sometimes we want to try and get that leg really nice and straight, and it creates that real rounding through the spine. Whereas if you bring that bend in, you can really draw the chest towards the toes. Breathing into the back of that right leg, you should feel a really nice stretch. And from here, we're still working on bringing that length into the leg. So just because we've got that knee bent, as we continue to come here, those muscles will lengthen and we can keep that nice long spine and start to lengthen through those muscles. Some blocks underneath the hands here can be nice as well. And then we're going to have to keep those left toes curled under because we're going to sink the hips back down to rest on that heel. So make sure the hips are nice and level. We're going to point the right toes forward and then we're going to round it forward for this one. You can send the hands out to either side for a little bit of balance. So pointing those right toes forward, you can keep that bend through the knee. You should feel that nice stretch through the top of the foot here now. And then let's walk it forward. So coming back to our low lunge, you'll have to step that right foot forward a little bit more. On an inhale, we're going to reach the hands up. Be mindful of that lower back, curl the tailbone under here. On an exhale, we're going to find a twist. So send the left hand forward, right hand back. Inhale back to center, arms up towards the sky. And we're going to move from our low lunge into our high lunge. So left toes are tucked under. Let's power up through the legs and see if you can start to draw that left knee away from the mat, bending into the right knee. Nice deep breath here. And then on an exhale, we're going to find that twist again here. So send the left hand forward, right hand goes back. Inhale, we come back to center. And on an exhale, we find our warrior two. Pivot on that left foot. Send the outer edge of that foot parallel with the short edge of your mat. Nice deep bend into that right knee. Arms out nice and wide. Drop the shoulders away from the ears, checking in with the body. And then on an exhale, let's cartwheel the arms, frame that right foot, and we move back through our chaturanga. So we find our plank nice and strong through the arms. Inhale and exhale. We lower halfway or lower all the way down to the belly. From halfway, we're going to flip onto the tops of our feet and find our upward facing dog. If you've lowered all the way down to the belly, then we find our cobra. On an exhale, we'll tuck the toes under and make our way back to our downward facing dog. So pressing the hips towards the top back corner of the room. Give the knees a nice generous bend. Walking out the legs. And this is our first downward facing dog. So just noticing how the right leg feels compared to the left leg after moving through that little flow on the right side. And then on an exhale, let's drop the knees back down and come back to our tabletop. When you've set yourself up in your tabletop, we're going to take it to the other side. So let's step the left foot forward and find our low lunge on this side. So again, opening up through the chest. So we're not rounding, we're not collapsing here. We're really drawing those shoulder blades back and together. Nice and long through the head and the neck, careful of the lower spine. So we're trying to draw that tailbone down. And that might mean that you have to back out of that really deep bend a little bit more so that you can protect the lower spine. But just finding a stretch that feels good for you. And then coming back to the breath. And then if you don't have those back toes curled under, so if you don't have the right toes curled under, we're going to tuck them under now and make our way back to our half split. So start to straighten through the left leg this time and draw the toes back towards the chest towards the toes. You can keep that nice bend into the left knee so that you can stay nice and long through the spine. I should have got my blocks. I'm on my little fingers trying to balance. But wherever you are, breathing into the stretch. Seeing if you can let go a little bit more with each exhale. Seeing if you can find anywhere that you can soften a little bit more. And then with those right toes still curled under, we're going to sink the hips all the way back down. So draw the heel back with you and then point through the left toes this time. And we're going to round it forward. Send the arms out to either side. Really trying to point through those toes, trying to draw the toes down towards the mat. And you should start to feel that really nice stretch through the front of the leg now. And then let's slowly start to make our way back to our low lunge. So step that foot forward a little bit more again. And then we'll find our low lunge with our arms reaching up towards the sky. On an exhale, let's find our twist. So we'll send the right hand forward, left hand goes back. And then inhale, arms come back up. We'll move from our low lunge into our high lunge. So those right toes are curled under. Let's see if we can start to lift that right knee away from the mat, drawing the right heel towards the back edge of the mat. You might need to adjust the legs a little bit here. And then on an exhale, let's find our twist. Right hand goes forward, left hand comes back. Inhale back to our high lunge and we find our warrior two. Pivot on that right foot this time. Send the arms out nice and wide. Check in with the body, curl the tailbone down, drop the shoulders away from the ears. Give the fingers a little bit of a wiggle, maybe bending into that left knee a little bit more. And then when you're ready, we'll cartwheel the arms, frame the left foot, and we step it back to our plank. One nice deep breath here. Draw the shoulders away from the ears, tuck the tailbone, and exhale, lower halfway or all the way to the belly. Find either your cobra or your upward facing dog. And then exhale, we'll make our way back to our downward facing dog. Pedal out the feet, noticing how the left leg feels, how the right leg feels. Press the chest towards the tops of the thighs. So just checking in with the body here. Go for a little wiggle, find some movement. Come back to the breath. And then we'll find stillness for a breath. On our next inhale, we're going to ground down through the left heel. Inhale, reach the right foot up towards the top back corner of the room for our three-legged dog. And on an exhale, we're going to draw it in towards the chest, shift forward on the hands, and then bring the right knee behind the right wrist for our pigeon pose. We're going to lower that back knee. And then just adjust this right leg as you need to. So the further forward you bring that right foot, the deeper the stretch is going to feel. So if you'd like to come out of the stretch a little bit, just draw that right foot in. So wherever feels comfortable for you, we're pressing down into the top of that left foot. And let's see if we can get really nice and tall here. So nice and tall through the head and the neck, nice length through the neck. Just for a breath. You might like to inhale the arms up. And then on an exhale, we'll fold it forward. Taking a moment here, you might like to rest the forehead on the hands. Maybe rocking the forehead side to side. Coming into a place that feels comfortable for you so that you can find stillness for a couple of breaths. And then this can be a really deep stretch. I think a lot of times people hold a lot of emotions in the hips, so this one can feel a little bit intense. So just noticing where the mind goes to. If it starts to wander off a little bit, let it, and then bring it back to the breath. And then let's slowly make our way back onto the hands. We're going to tuck the left toes back under, press into the arms, and then lift back into our three-legged dog. Bend into that right knee. You might like to take a couple of hip circles here. So drawing some nice big circles with the knee, just to stretch it out from our pigeon pose. And then we'll bring the right foot back to meet the left. Give the feet a little bit of a pedal, and then we'll take it to the other side. So drop down through the right heel this time. Inhale, left foot up for our three-legged dog. And on an exhale, let's draw that left knee in towards the chest. We shift the left knee behind the left wrist this time. And then sink the right knee down to our mat for our pigeon pose. Again, adjust that foot as you need to. So if you roll onto that left hip, you can move that foot a little bit further forward or bring it in wherever you need to be. So give yourself a moment to just check in, set yourself up. Get nice and tall through the spine, draw the shoulders away from the ears. You might like to inhale the hands up again. See how that feels in the body. And then on an exhale, from wherever you are, let's fold it forward. Maybe stack the palms and rest the forehead on the hands. Find whatever feels good. Maybe noticing how this side feels compared to the other side. Noticing the mind. Coming back to the breath. Seeing if you can maybe slow the breath down a little bit more. Taking fuller, deeper breaths. And then slowly we'll make our way back onto the hands. Tuck the right toes under this time. We find that three-legged dog. Bend into the left knee. And take a couple of hip circles here, stretching it out. And then we come back to our downward facing dog. We drop the knees down to our tabletop and then lower all the way down onto the belly for our broken wing pose. So we'll do the left arm first because then it's out this side so you can see it a little better. So let's do the left arm first. You've got two options here. So you can either send the arm out nice and long to the side. You can try that. If it feels like it's a little bit deep, it can help to bend the arm into a 90-degree angle, or even bring that hand in a little closer to the head, because then we're going to roll onto the left side of the body. Bend the right knee and just step it behind that left leg. And you should feel a really nice stretch through that left shoulder, the front of the left chest. So if it feels like way too much with the arms straight, come back onto the belly and just bend into the arm. So find what works for you in your body. And then let's come back down onto the belly and we'll take it to the other side. So we'll send the right arm out nice and long this time, and then roll onto the right side of the body. Bend the left knee, step it behind the right leg. So if this feels like a little bit too much, again, you can just adjust the arm to feel it out and see what works best for you. I actually think that the elbow bent makes the stretch a lot stronger. And then when you're ready, we'll roll back onto the belly, come back up through our tabletop and make our way to seated. I'm going to come long ways onto my mat and we're going to find our half butterfly. So I'm going to draw the left foot in towards the body, send the right leg out at about a 45-degree angle. On an inhale, I'm going to reach the arms up, turn towards that right foot and drawing those right toes back towards the chest. And then I round forward. You can drop the head down towards the knee, so really rounding through the spine here. You should start to feel a nice stretch through the left side body as well. Letting the hands rest wherever they need to be. If you can reach around the back of that right foot, then you can. But I think it's really nice to just soften a little bit here. Take one more deep breath. And then slowly start to roll it out. Let the head and the neck come up last. And then we'll take it to the other side. So let's draw the right foot in towards the body this time. Send the left leg out at about that 45-degree angle and then draw the toes back towards you. Inhale, we get nice and tall through the spine. You're reaching up. Turn towards that foot and then exhale, we round it forward. You can close through the eyes here, nice and active through the toes. You should feel that nice stretch through the side. Find the breath. And then let's slowly start to roll it up. Let the head and the neck come up last. And then let's draw the left leg back in. We're going to find our Baddha Konasana. So bring the soles of the feet together. Get nice and tall through the spine, just holding onto the ankles here. And then you can stay here for a couple of breaths, but otherwise we're going to find another forward fold here. So just rounding through the spine. You might like to walk the hands forward. It can help to bring some blocks underneath the knees here as well. I need to make sure I have my blocks next time. Breathing into the hips here. And then slowly we'll roll it back up again. Let the head and the neck come up last. And then we're going to make our way to lie down. So take your time to get there. And we'll find a twist. So we'll send the left leg out nice and long. And then hug the right knee in towards the chest. Maybe move the hips over towards the right a little bit. And then let's sink the right knee down to the left side. Send the right arm out nice and long. Maybe turn to look at the right hand. I start getting so confused when I say too many left and rights in one sentence. Breathe along the length of the spine. Draw that right shoulder down towards the mat. And then let's bring it back to center. And we'll take it to the other side. Send the right leg out nice and long. Hug the left knee in towards the chest. Maybe shift those hips to the left. And then let's sink the left knee down. You can straighten through the arms. Maybe turn to look at the left hand. Maybe closing down the eyes. Letting the body get really nice and heavy here. Seeing if you can let go a little bit more with every exhale. And then slowly we'll make our way back to center. And to our final resting posture, our Savasana. So you can either send the legs out nice and long, or you might like to bend them and take the feet a little bit wider and then let the knees fall in towards each other. Send the arms out to the side, or maybe one hand resting on the belly, one hand on the heart. Staying here for as long as you would like to. When you're ready, finding your Savasana. So whatever works for you after our practice. Taking a little bit of time for yourself. Bringing the attention to the breath. And then I'm going to leave you here, but stay in your Shavasana for as long as feels right for you. Thank you so much for joining me for this practice today, and I hope you're feeling a little bit better now at the end of your practice compared to the beginning. The light in me recognizes and honors the light in you. Namaste.